All right, what's up, everybody? My mics are working, my camera's working. Finally, I get some shit together and I'm doing it on time. So, today's topic is, of course, people are gonna talk noise um, about the 2 week program that it's fake, it's a scam, and I'm here to dispel. If you're considering it, because a lot of people think that you have to do the A&P in 2 weeks, and it's far from the truth, guys. So I'm here to help you out where, um, if it's for you, if it's going to be something that you need right away. It just depends on your timeline, or if you're the type, if you like to go to school. So it's some of the conversations that I have with a lot of people is you know I like what I tell my team is is not everybody's our customer, because there's some guys who want to know everything. They want to have a little piece of this and piece of that, right? And we're definitely not a school where you're going to learn about aviation in two weeks. It's not going to happen, right? Um, you can learn everything about an aircraft, and you're still going to learn the practical side of things, right? Where you learn learn not only what it says in the book, but what it does in real life, because that's going to be different sometimes. So there's conspiracy, there's that book knowledge, but then there's the actual practical knowledge. Here, a lot of you guys obviously are going to be the guys who learn on the plane, who turn wrenches, who turn planes around. So you're going to learn, you know, you guys already show competency. You know why I know guys show competency is because when it's time for the orals and practicals, y'all accelerate in that part. Where a lot of people struggle, and it's not that bad, is the written exams. It's just a lot of work. It's just a lot of studying, because I'm giving you all the information you need to like recognize it when you go test, right? So it's not about if you don't know the stuff. You do know the stuff. You've been trained the stuff, and you still need to like uh, be reminded about a lot of things. And that's where you're gonna connect the dots on a lot of things that you learn in these books. And it's like, oh, this washer does this, or this engine does this. So, it's not magic, but it's not fake either. But if you're looking to, if you, first of all, you need to come in with their 8610-2 form. Like that right there solidifies that you're an aircraft mechanic from the FAA. FAA recognizes that form. That form obviously recognizes the form, it comes for them, but that that form is telling you, hey, you're an aircraft mechanic, you can go test. That's what it's saying. So I don't know why there needs to be an AP or a credential. Don't know the reason why. It could be for several reasons. They want to know make sure that you know the foundations of aviation. They want to know that employers, it helps them know that like, hey, there's a line to say that this guy knows it, right? And he went through these checkpoints to get this A&P, right? So there's a lot of reasons, and it's not a bad thing. You don't want people just working on an aircraft and can't prove it. Like, we need to prove that you're an actual aircraft mechanic. So I hear it all the time. I don't get it, but I hear it all the time in the, military maintainers page, not our page, but just pages that I'm involved in, and they talk about how we do all this work. Why do we need an A&P? It should be given to us. Well, as you know, if you've been on the flight line quite a bit, you already know that, man, some of those guys are questionable. So, um, saying questionable decisions when you're drinking a whole 12 pack of Bud Light in Vegas, questionable like that. So, let's find out why, you know, people say this is a scam, because right now, I'll break down the reality of the A&P. What's the expectation, so that you can have it and see it's for you, because I don't want students in my class that want to know everything. They want to go down the rabbit hole of everything, because there's guys who are like, I'm already an aircraft mechanic for 20 years. I already, authorized by the FAA. I just need to get this A&P so I can go continue my learning or get promoted, get this job. So it's like I'll learn it on, I'll learn more on whatever airframe I'm going to be on because there's not a lot of airframes that in the military translate into the civilian, So, all right, so if you're already turning wrenches in the military, you're not starting from zero, okay? So a lot of your experience will tie into these exams and also your practical exams because your guys will excel there, okay? So again, you're not learning aviation in 2 weeks. It's really just proving competency, all right? So some of you have had 6, 10, 20 years on an aircraft and they already validated that. FAA is already validated. Now you just go take these tests, right? This 2-week program is just prepping you for the exam. Prep course, prep for the exam. And a lot of people have negative connotation like it's a bad thing. Like, hey, you're just learning how to test, which that's how I view it, and I don't think that's a bad thing. You know, uh, Memorizing the questions and answers, I don't see it as a bad thing because when you come to me, you're already an aircraft mechanic. You've already been on an airframe for 20 years. Okay? To me, I don't see it as a bad thing. A lot of people think that's negative stigma. I was like, oh, you're not memorizing it. You should not be memorizing it. Well, you either way, we have to use memory. We have to use memory to memorize the concept. And if you've been on an aircraft or just around jet engines, you have the basics of what it is. You've been taught this in tech school. So this is the cheat code. If you already have experience, this is the cheat code. This is the shortcut to get your A&P. And I'm not, at least in my school, I'm not here to teach you to be a better mechanic. I'm teaching you to get your license so you can become a better mechanic because that's, to me, that's different things. And comment below if you think that's, what you think is odd. You want serious aircraft mechanics. I was like, I don't make that judgment. FAA already made that judgment. And if they allow them to test, if a guy really sucks, in our class, and we've had maybe two. I know this one guy, he stands out on my mind. And I was like, dude, I don't know how he got his tickets. And I told that to the employer. And, he struggled through the class. And not because he didn't know the knowledge, he's just, things were clicking for him. Just like basic engine stuff wasn't clicking for him. So that's, I brought it up because like that's a good partner. Yes, he's a student, but you're trying to have a long-term relationship with a major company, and you want to be upfront, what these guys are doing in the class. So, because you have to talk to your partners for that very reason to kind of help them. Like, I don't know if this is for the guy or not, or this is for the company or not. I'll put it out there. We'll help out the guy as much as we can. So, why does this work for maintainers, right? So, 2 weeks is when you 2 years, that's slow. That's a snail's pace, right? For you to learn some the same stuff these guys are learning, right? So if you do that for 2 years, you have time to go home. You have time to hang out with the girls. Maybe you are a 20-year vet and you're connecting with these 20-year-old girls. They're as old as the time you've been in the military. So there's a lot of distractions, so much distractions. So you know, so you have many months of procrastination to do assignments and all this stuff. But when you do 2 week course, and it's a lot of information. All you do is just study. You just study your brains out, and you get your A&P. Now, I get it that you might want to know everything, or you're using the VA to get this or that. I understand. And nothing against that. Is just know that when you go to a prep course, that have that conversation with the school to get your A&P. All right. Because a lot of times you guys, I've seen it over and over where guys didn't need to take a 2 year course, they just needed a 2 week course. And they just needed their 8610-2. And unfortunately, they got sold, they got marketed to them saying that this is what they need. Okay? Again, there's no way you're going to fake your way into this whole thing. Have I heard of it? I haven't heard of it. I've heard of other stuff, but not somebody that is going to fake being an aircraft mechanic, gotten past the FAA authorization, or taking the test. I haven't seen it. I'm glad I haven't seen it. But yeah, this is not like how you're gonna go on sugardaddy.com and you're making $40,000 as an E3 on this website and thinking that you can fake the girls in the beginning, but they're gonna catch on real quick. Maybe after that, even that first 5 minutes, and they're like, "The heck, you're not X, Y, and Z. You don't have money. You're an E3." So, just this is something you can't fake, guys. And I'll notice it. My instructors will notice it. And if you're failing, you're gonna keep failing because you don't have the experience. So the fast track is more for people who are just trying to get a shortcut, and in this case, it's not a bad thing. Tons of employers take their candidates to a 2 week course because one, they already went to a two-year course, and two, they already got the experience in some form or fashion, like military or civilian. Okay, so there's no Altex next year. It's Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, or Friday, Saturday, Sunday, testing. Following week, from Wednesday to Saturday, is testing. That's how our schedule is. And it's just 2 weeks, 10, 12 days, boom, you're done. You got your A&P. So you can get it done. You can get it done. Okay? There's no this, weak effort, poor testing sequences, no prep for your orals and practicals. It's just at least in our class, we give you that structured. All you do is just hyper focus here. Just like if you're racing 200 miles an hour in a Lamborghini, you're going to be hyper focused on that wheel. So same thing. There's no cruising like a lowrider, or going 15 miles an hour to look around, and check out the people on the sidewalk. So your mindset goes from one day I'll get my A&P to like it's gonna happen in 2 weeks. So the identity shift helps. Okay, so like I said, this is not somebody. This fast track is not for somebody who wants to just dig in all into aviation, right? And it's going to be endless. It's going to be endless, knowing more and more and more, and learning from old guys on, working over their shoulders or working with them, wrenching together, or holding his tools. Yeah, this is not for you. We've gotten into some issues where guys were getting accepted, and they unfortunately were upset because they, it's like I'm the type of person I need to know everything. I need to know, ins and outs. It's like you're not gonna get that here. We'll give you some concepts, and that's about it. So just make sure you're not that type of guy. If you can't remove the distractions, don't be. This is not a vacation. Do not bring your girlfriend or some girl you met on Tinder from San Diego and bring them in Tucson. Meet them halfway. It's like you don't want to do that stuff. You're gonna be distracted. And if you can't get away from drinking at the bar or something like that, that's not gonna help you either. So this is not for the people who want to get in depth with it to learn the foundations to a very deep level. It's not it. This is just a shortcut to get you in and out as soon as possible because that's the type of service we provide. That's what, there's a huge need for it. So, this is, it's, and if you're brand new, obviously, if you're brand new, can't come to the course. It's no point unless you want to throw money at me. You know, I'm not gonna get on my knees or nothing like that. But if you want to throw away money like that, then that's fine. But you're not gonna get your A&P. So that's pretty much. Oh, I guess a good final point is, do guys pass? Yeah, they pass. Fast track, get them going that fast. And like I said, I love guys who come out of town because they come in with a mission and that's the only thing. There's no work to go to, there's no office to go to, there's no wife to go to a hotel room or stay late and knock it out. In town guys tend to go home, you got some honeydew items to do, girlfriends around, they want to, sneak into the dorm room and, but I'm not saying it's not for them, but just be mindful that when you're in here, you're dead for 2 weeks, and gotta coordinate with everybody to make sure that, like, hey, don't bother me at this time. Do your darnest not to bother me about work stuff around these times, because it's going to require a lot of mental capacity for you to study and knock it out. So that's one of the big things that I see when it comes to the differences between in town and out of town guys. So if you think this was helpful, let me see if I can post. All right, this is the quiz. If you're ready for an A&P, and I'm gonna put it right here for you guys to okay. All right, guys, there you go. Just check to see if you're ready for the A&P, and then we can jump on a call and evaluate you, fill in the gaps, and let's go. Let's knock this out, guys. So hopefully this was helpful to understand what the difference between an A&P or basically what is an A&P fast track. Is it a scam or is it legit? Let me know in the comments below if you want to be a dickhead and say that's a scam. I already know. I'm way ahead of you guys. So I love it. And yeah, if did it help you? Do you think it didn't help you? I'll be all straight up. It didn't help everybody. It's just some guys need to take their time with it. It's just how they operate. So, what are your thoughts about A&P fast track schools? And let's have a conversation around it. Again, my name is Jose Zaragoza. I'm here to help you attain your A&P and transition outside of the military. That's the big mission here. That's what we do at Code One. That's what we do here at Military Maintainers, supporting you throughout that whole process. So have a good night. Enjoy yourself. Don't get caught up. Stay out of trouble. And most likely, if you're watching this, you're probably staying out of trouble and playing video games or whatever you guys do nowadays. But anyways, have a good night. And thank you for watching. Love it. And pull in chocks.